So the drill today here at Camp Pendleton is a full-scale exercise in which we're setting up both our decontamination units and we're also setting up our mass casualty care units and working this as if they're moving through the entire system from beginning to end.
Part of our annual training program includes an event where we get to pull out all of the equipment that's in our cache to basically exercise those components that don't get exercised for every training to ensure an operational readiness. So we want all of our tents, our generators, our HVAC systems all brought out of the cache, all set up, operated to determine if we have any kind of operational issue that needs to be addressed. And so when we talk about maintaining that 24/7 operational readiness, we can confirm that at least once annually.
So this morning we arrived about 9 o'clock this morning here at Camp Pendleton with the assumption that we were called to respond to an event that happened here. And so basically the first step is the team arrives and the team gets rostered. So as the team makeup, we have folks coming from all over our geographical area. So they assemble in one point, we get them rostered and broken into teams. For this exercise, we simulated as if we had 2 full teams coming into this operation. So once the team's assembled and assignments are made, we broke the team into essentially 2 sections, a decon section and a mass casualty care section.
What we went into this op today with a mindset that there may have been some kind of an explosion that may involve a radiological device that would require us to take a victim population, put them through a decontamination process, and then further evaluate them for injuries and treat obviously life-threatening injuries before they were handed off to an EMS component for transport to a local hospital. Over my shoulder here, what you'll see is that we have a decontamination corridor built up. So it essentially addresses that hot warm zone transition area. We're able to bring everybody through a portal monitor to determine if they are in fact contaminated with radioactive material. Once we detect that in the portal monitor, we send them through a male and or female corridor, and that puts them in that first tent, which is an undress tent, where they remove all of their clothing and they put on some modesty covering to get to the decontamination tent. Once they go through the decontamination tent, they scrub with a soap-impregnated sponge and then water rinse. As they come out of the tent, they'll go into this blue redress tent that you see in there. Again, more modesty covering, and then they'll come out into this Western shelter system that you see behind us that allows us to do medical monitoring and do some quick assessments as we move them across the street to the facility you see right behind us. Essentially with the mass casualty area, we know that there might be some folks that are walking wounded that aren't contaminated that might need some minor assessment and treatment. That allows us to bring them into a facility here where we'll bring them up front and have them triaged through a triage tent and then appropriately distribute them between a green, yellow, and a red treatment tent. In our green treatment tent is typically where we have minor injuries, lacerations that may need to be bandaged, things of that nature. When we move up into the yellow tent, things may be a little bit more significant where we have broken bones, we may have some issues with breathing difficulty, ruptured eardrums from an explosion, things of that nature. The acuity of care just moves up a bit. And then our most critical folks end up in our red treatment tent. Those are the folks that may have a variety of injuries, from amputations to being unconscious, unresponsive, burns, so that we can appropriately manage any life threat and then pass them off to our EMS component, get them transported to an appropriate medical facility in the region.
One of our primary challenges as a team is because we come from such a broad geographic area within the 16 jurisdictions of the Hampton Roads Planning District Commission. Getting folks here is always a challenge at the normal transportation issues that we deal with every day in Hampton Roads. So that's kind of the first challenge that we have to overcome. So even though we plan for certain people to be in certain roles, depending on when folks arrive on scene, we sometimes end up having to move individuals into roles in order to accomplish that. Probably the second challenge for us is, once the caches are here and we start getting the caches set up, is making sure that everybody's familiar with all the parts. So the crews that were working this morning doing the decontamination part of it, we don't want them to miss the opportunity to see the mass casualty care piece. So basically what we'll end up doing about halfway through the exercise, which is kind of an artificiality, is then flip-flopping both halves of the teams so that they can then see the other side of the operation.
In an actual deployment, I would be in charge of 3, 4, 5 medical personnel, many of them ALS providers, whether it's a searching or just being assigned to a specific tent, whether it's a decon or medical, but strictly in the operations environment.
Being a member of the team, primarily for somebody new in the organization, it's like low-hanging fruit. You have a lot of training that may steer you in other directions and other specialties. For example, a lot of the classes and training that I was able to take part in as a result of being a member of MMRS was a primary influence in me pursuing the hazmat specialty.
What's unique about the strike team is, one, it's regionally built. So with that, you have people that essentially staff our public safety services 24/7. So they bring a certain skill set already through the door. The entire program is about supplementing and enhancing that local response capability. So we don't want to provide the same service, we want to go a step above. They get into unique training classes, they develop unique skills that they can apply here that they can't apply somewhere else. If anybody's interested in joining the team, they can work through an agency representative. So for instance, if somebody is from Virginia Beach and they wanted to come through to the strike team, there's obviously a chain of command process for that. And the one person that we have as a designated agency rep for there is Chief Brian Taylor. And then Chief Taylor would advise them what's necessary. There's an application which is available online that they could fill out. It runs through their immediate first line supervisor, then it runs through their agency rep, and then it comes to us at the TIMS office, specifically through the HRMMRS program. And that's where myself and Stephanie Hackett will take those applications and we'll do the vetting process on those.